You know, I sensed around the country, Bob Trumpy, a real empathy toward the Buffalo Bills from the fans who didn't care. I mean, they're the true die-hard Buffalo Bills fans and those who, hey, Dallas Cowboys all the way. But in between, there is a lot of empathy toward Buffalo. They hated the thought of a team having to come here 3 times and lose 3 times. Metzelaars, but not only beaten again, but
I wonder what effect losing for the 3rd time has on the near future of this franchise.
Something to ponder.
Thing that Harry Carson made famous from the New York Giants, Coach Johnson taking an early bath. And now let's go back to live coverage from our NBC commentators.
You got to look at this football team with its youth.
Oh, they are. Just to make sure. Hey, there's a look you won't see very often. Meanwhile, Buffalo trying to get a cosmetic score here at the end of the game. Kenneth Davis wheeling down. Actually, you know, when they total up the numbers, Kenneth Davis at least can show his grandchildren that he did some productive running in the Super Bowl. 72 yards for him. Yeah, the combination of Jones and Johnson is enviable around much of the NFL because there's no one in between.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that Jimmy Johnson is in charge of the draft. Jerry Jones kind of does a little inventory with the guy's character, but there's Emmett messing up Jimmy Johnson's hair. You can only do that when you win the World Championship.
Right. No, I don't think that even works in the playoffs. That's a one-time only.
That's right there. That's a World Championship.
But that's a picture to hang on the wall.
Yes, it is.
That'll make all the late news good. Incomplete. The pass to Lofton, a little late getting there.
That's incomplete.
And, you know, when you're going this good, only the owner can touch you afterward. You got to straighten it out. Roommates in college, owner and head coach. And they've gone from the lows, the absolute lows in Dallas.
Okay, come on.
Here they are. 4 years. That's a remarkable.
And 2 or 3 years ago, they have, Jimmy told us that it would take 8 or 9 guys in every Monday, time a few of them, see if they can tackle, and get them out and bring 8 or more in the next week.
45 seconds to go, and it'll be interesting to get Jimmy Johnson's remarks, and Jerry Jones will have him in the post game, the Stars, and those who are disappointed in this game. Jimmy Johnson's team can start writing their own book now. The flow is more than psychological, isn't it? They've just acted out pro football's optimal experience.
Oh, James Lofton just dropped
Lofton with a chance for 6, the 36-year-old oldest man in this game.
He has no catches, and that would have been for a touchdown.
We'll also have the presentation of the Most Valuable Player award along with the Vince Lombardi Trophy to the winning Cowboys in the postgame, and that's 6 right there, and you won't see Lofton. Boy, couldn't be thrown any better.
They don't hand them to you that well.
9-year-old son had his birthday this week. They live out here in Southern California here to cheer for Dad. Their next cheers will be for the LA Clippers. He has season tickets for the NBA. And another incredibly low Super Bowl for Thurman Thomas. 20 seconds to go, and Wright goes down. Leon Lett will have a lot to talk about on the way home. 17 seconds. So the son of an ice cream supervisor wins the Super Bowl, and it'll be vanilla tonight on the house.
And lots of it. What a performance by this young Dallas Cowboy football team.
They go back to big day as Super Bowl champions. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
You're protecting me now.
The first coach to win the National Collegiate Championship title and the Super Bowl. Jimmy Johnson, age 49. And Mama and Papa down there in Port Arthur, Texas. I'm sure they're standing and saluting right now. No distractions. but a great quarterback and a great young defense. And a team now is this, you got to start talking already, Dynasty Dallas, the 90s. I mean, where can they go except to be one of the best for a long time?
The NFC East is going to have to start drafting, trading, and acquiring talent to beat these guys.
Yeah, there were fireworks. And for Buffalo, 3 times in a row, they're the best in the AFC. 3 times in a row, the loser of the Super Bowl. We're standing by in the locker rooms to get the comments from the players, coaches. O.J. Simpson will be in the losers locker room and Bob Costas in the winning locker room. And that must be how Buffalo feels right now. Their slogan up in that city of Buffalo is the city of good neighbors. And this difficult defeat will test the depths of that wonderful communal spirit, won't it? We'll have the post-game ceremonies for you after this break for your local stations.
And we'll also have a whole lot more with the presentations and some interviews from the players, courtesy of NBC. But there's so much to talk about now. As we saw the players walking off the field, so much came to mind. The first thing for me, Mark, they're in your division, the Dallas Cowboys. Are we looking tonight at the team of the 90s?
You got it. The way they played tonight and the way they finished this whole year, it wasn't they all of a sudden got hot. They played consistently all the way through. They had the continuity, the team spirit. It's a young football team. And if you don't say they're the team of the 90s, then show me one that's any better than what they show today. They proved to be the best this year, and you got to give them credit the way they came out and played.
Are you scared?
Are you scared? Are you frightened?
Bob, Dave Wanstead now going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears, taking Mike Ditka's place. He has made a point tonight, hasn't he, with this young defense. No Pro Bowlers. Do you think they might have a couple of Pro Bowlers next year?
Well, I think they might. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have some Pro Bowlers. Yeah, I certainly do. You know, you see a guy like Russell Maryland. It's very difficult for a guy to come in highly touted. We talked about before about first rounders, high round draft picks, living up to the expectations that people have on him. Russell Maryland got off to a strong start, and which allowed him to gain some confidence, which made him play extremely well the entire season. Their whole defense has just been very aggressive, very attack-oriented, and I think that same frame, that same type of defense, Dave Weinstein will take to Chicago and make that another. I mean, that used to be their strength up there. They used to love defense in Chicago. Hopefully he'll be able to go there and resurrect that program a little bit.
Will him leaving affect the Dallas Cowboys defense? How will that affect them next year, do you think, Mark?
Well, I think it's same philosophies, and same people will have the same philosophies, and they have the same players. So they'll implement the philosophies that Dave Wanstead had, and I think they'll become the same type of defense. I don't think they're going to change a heck of a lot. Why change anything that doesn't need any fixing? I think is basically what you're at.
Well, as we continue talking, we're going to go back out to the stadium and show what is happening on the field around the stadium. A lot of people excited, obviously not Buffalo Bill fans. I think a lot of those folks don't care if they're the team of the 90s. They're the team of tonight, and they are the new world champions, as they say over here, of American football, and they fully deserve it. One thing we touched on earlier was the ownership of these teams. The ownership, Jerry Jones, bringing in Jimmy Johnson. They bring in the players. They've made this team from a 1-15 team to the Super Bowl champions in 4 years. That's a remarkable feat. Ownership is very important, isn't it?
Well, they've talked about Jimmy Jones being the new guard in ownership. You know, not the old kind of staid and stodgy, just kind of stick to the old rules. He's that more aggressive, obviously getting down on the field and
I'm sorry, Bob, I'm going to interrupt you. We've got your Commissioner of Football, Paul Tagliabue, about to make the presentation of the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Let's hand it to the NBC commentators.
Just about everything else a football team can demonstrate in a game. So congratulations to both of you.
Jimmy, put your hands out here with this.
Jerry, you signed the checks, so you go first.
Well, I will go first. First of all, I want everybody that enjoys sports, want them to know how special this is for these group of people, because they did get up off a knee. They weren't on their back. They were just down on a knee. I'm so proud for Cowboy fans. I can't say enough for what Jimmy has done. He's given his heart and soul to us having a winning football team. I want to thank my family as well, and Paul, all the work you're doing for the NFL.
Jerry, before we talk to Jimmy, teams speak about a 5-year plan. You did it in your 4th. There were so many moves and turning points. Would you pinpoint one as the most important point in the history of this franchise under your direction?
Yes, it's pretty easy. The very first one when I hired Jimmy Johnson to be the coach.
Jimmy, first coach in history to win a collegiate national championship and the Super Bowl. How does it feel?
Well, it feels great. I think sometimes people might question the way we do things as far as the commitment, but, you know, if you could just feel the way these players feel right now, and I wish everybody in the world could feel the same feeling they have right now, then they would understand the commitment, because I mean, this has got to be the greatest feeling in of all things, just to be able to go out there and win it all.
How do you feel personally? People talk about, sometimes joke about your intensity and your single-mindedness. How long will you allow yourself to revel in this before you think about next season?
Well, this is one victory that I will enjoy here for a couple of weeks before we start going on to next season. But we got to start looking at those colleges, and we got to look at those players to help us out for next year to get better.
Are you this much better than Buffalo?
Well, you know, Buffalo had a tough string there. You know, we felt like we'd get some turnovers, and we did. And I think, you know, obviously that was the big key. And once you start on a downhill slide like what they had, it was very difficult for them to turn it around, because we've got a good football team.
9 turnovers. The big point in the game, the sequence late in the first quarter, early in the second. Jones takes the fumble in, and then they don't get in from about a foot out with 2 cracks at it.
Well, we play outstanding football. You know, we play good defense, we play good offense, good special teams, and we protect the football. I think that's a big key for our football team, is we do protect it. But we have a lot of great players that have given their heart and soul to get to this point.
Honestly, are you surprised that it happened this quickly?
No, I really felt like we were going to be here. I just didn't know how long, but I felt like we'd be here. And once we started going, even the second year, and had a chance for the playoffs, and then the third year going the way we did, I said, hey, you know, anything can happen once we get to the playoffs.
Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones, congratulations. Back to talk with some of the winning Dallas Cowboy players when we return to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena in a minute.
Guys, obviously an excited head coach and owner of the Dallas Cowboys. The question that comes to mind for me is the Buffalo Bills. They've now been to 3 Super Bowls in a row. They've lost all 3. Is this going to knock the stuffing out of the team? Is this all we're going to hear from the AFC and the Buffalo Bills? Is it someone else's turn, do you think, Bob?
Knock the stuffing out of the team? Is that what
knock
you said?
The stuffing out.
Okay.
Yes, a very good English term.
You know, it really does have to shake these guys up. And we talked before, these guys got a tremendous amount of talent, but something's not right. I mean, there's just something missing there, and you know they're going to have to really go back and take a deep. And believe me, with Marv Levy, there will be a deep, hard look taken at this team, and there are probably going to be quite a few changes. I don't know where it lies, because you look and they look sound all across the board, but for some reason, and it seems to be a lot of times the intangibles, and as we talked before, the turnovers.
I think again now it comes back to that age-old question, or at least the last 11, 12 years: is the AFC the weak conference? You might take offense to that and say that they're not, and you're a bit bigger than me, so I'll say they're quite good. But honestly, the stats tell us different. They can't do it. They can't win a Super Bowl.
But you know what? As a whole, I mean, conference to conference, if you really take a good, hard look, we've got much prettier uniforms. What? Well, we do.
Prettier people, too, right?
But, Mark, you think there is a truth in that between AFC and
before
NFC?
people start, you know, riding the Buffalo Bills and tearing them apart, you know, you got to understand that's 3 years in a row that they've made it to the pinnacle of their sport. So my hat's off to them, first of all. You know, they went through a tough season here and still came into a Super Bowl and had a chance to win it. So people are going to tear these guys apart. The Cornelius Bennett's, the Shane Conlons, the guys like that. I mean, these guys play hard week in and week out. They've been to 3 Super Bowls, so my hat's off to them in the first place. Secondly, you know, they're a team, I think that, you know, for all intents and purposes, had a tough road this year. And, you know, they came up short again, but take nothing away from that. You know, they're going to be back. Marv Levy's a guy that understands, you know, we're not just going to sit here and mill around where we're at. We're going to try to get better, and I think that's where they'll end up going. And I'll say another thing for the AFC. First time in a couple years that I've seen them grow stronger and be more competitive. We played the AFC West and got torn up, you know, 2 or 3 times there. Kansas City Chiefs, you know, the Raiders, they pretty much play on a level, I think, which you need to have. And Dallas, of course, today had the upper hand, but I think the future of the AFC is very bright, and they're starting to play the brand of football that you have to, the tough physical brand.
And let's try and give to Buffalo some of the credit they deserve. You know, that is the great inequity of this game. It's like there's only 2 teams left out of 28. 26 teams aren't even playing. So you go out here, and then when this game's over, the team that loses isn't considered so much to be the second-place team in the league. They're just thought of as the last team to lose. And it's just perspective. But you have to give them the credit. They worked hard, and they won a lot of big games, and they did a lot of good things to get here.
A couple of quick questions about new coaches. Where you started your career, New England. Bill Parcells now gone up there. Do you think he's going to make a big difference?
He's got to. I mean, he's just got a tremendous amount of talent and knowledge. In fact, when I started my career up there as a linebacker, he was my linebacker coach, I believe my second year in the league.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, he got fired right after that first year, so I think it was my fault. I'm not sure. But I think that he's got the talent, and I think he's itching to get back into football again after that little broadcast stint of his.
And then the other big change is at the Giants. You've got Dan Reeves, formerly with the Denver Broncos, did a great job with them for 12 seasons. Now he's going to go to the Giants. That's a pretty good move for the Giants, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a big shake-up in Denver, of course. Matter of fact, I was talking with John Elway the other day, and him and Dan kind of got off terms here the last couple of years, and so they went different ways, and he wishes Dan well, and Dan has brought some people that I think John would like to have at Denver. So it's caused some friction in the two organizations, but I think they're bringing a class act there. A guy that also has been to 3 Super Bowls and has come up empty, Dan Reeves, and they're to come to New York with the talent that they have there, it's just going to be an added dimension for that organization, I think.
All right, well, unfortunately, we've come to the end of another season. I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as I have. For all you enthusiasts that love to not only watch the game on telly, but also enjoy coaching or playing, then the NFL Partnership has a real treat for you. On February the 13th and 14th at Alexander Stadium in Birmingham, such greats as Chuck Noll, Jack Bicknell, and Jack Ilway will be holding coaching clinics. Then on February the 16th through 19th, they'll have evening clinics at Glasgow, Manchester and Gloucester. Then for all you fans down in the London area, you'll have 2 more all-day clinics at Crystal Palace on February the 20th and 21st. So for information on that, call 081 964 2244. That's 081 964 2244. Also, if you'd like a memento of Super Bowl XXVII, I wish I had the program in front of me, but I don't. You can get that from all of your local news agents. And before we go, guys, I need a little bit of a prediction for next year. First, Bob, are you going to be playing?
Well, it didn't look good at the end of the season. I didn't get a chance to play too much, but I still have a lot of life in me. I know I look fairly old, but you know what? I'm not as old as you. So I would like to come back. If the Raiders give me a chance, I will be back, and I think we'll be back as a team.
Mark, are the Washington Redskins going to be back?
We have to. We've had a tough injury-riddled year, and I think if we can just get things together again, we'd like to be back here on the other side of it. And if not, I'll still be glad to come up here and share with all the great English fans that have supported us over the years as far as the NFL is concerned.
Oh, brilliant. I hope you get another one of these rings fairly soon. Got 2 of them there. Maybe it'll make it 3, and hopefully, Bob, you'll get one. Thanks, guys, for joining me tonight. Been great having you here. So from everyone here, everyone down in the truck, until next season, good night.